Welcome to the Art of Facilitation, a tutorial for the facilitators of pastorate planning teams. I'm Molly Fern from the Human Resources Department at the Archdiocese of Baltimore. The purpose of this tutorial is to prepare facilitators guiding the pastorate planning teams by providing information, tools, and resources to enable quality decision making and an overall effective planning process. This tutorial is designed to provide a step-by-step guide for a beginner facilitator. If you are an experienced facilitator, you may want to quickly review this tutorial to determine what information and resources will best suit your specific needs. God bless you for agreeing to facilitate a pastorate planning team. Your role is vital to helping our pastorates not just form and survive, but thrive. Thank you for sharing your time and talent for the good of our church. So let's begin by defining your role. What is a facilitator? A facilitator is one who contributes structure and process to interactions so groups are able to function effectively and make high-quality decisions. A helper and enabler whose goal is to support others as they achieve exceptional performance. As a facilitator, you'll guide the pastorate planning team through the discernment process, which involves setting short and long-term goals and prioritizing those goals. Let's take a look at the big picture first. What is your purpose as a pastorate planning team facilitator? Your purpose is to guide the team so that they in turn can achieve their purpose. What is their purpose? To determine how best to form a pastorate focused on evangelization that will succeed in the core mission priorities of liturgy, welcome, encounter, accompaniment, sending, and mission support. If you look at the next slide, it will give you details about each of these core mission priorities taken directly from Archbishop Lori's document, Be Missionary Disciples, found on the Archdiocesan website. Archbishop Lori's pastoral letter, A Light Brightly Visible, and his pastoral plan document, Be Missionary Disciples, are both located on the Archdiocese of Baltimore's website, www.archbalt.org. Please visit the website to read these documents to prepare yourself for your facilitator role. As the facilitator, you'll be the guide helping the pastorate planning team to navigate through a variety of processes, such as meeting management, decision making, goal setting, goal prioritizing, and conflict resolution. You'll be guiding the team to ensure that these processes are productive and constructive. In preparation to facilitate, you'll want to decide how you want to engage the pastorate planning team members. You may want to meet with each team member individually to establish rapport prior to the initial team meeting. Getting to know each team member will help you to know how best to use their individual knowledge, skills, and abilities to successfully accomplish the planning process. For example, if you get to know a team member and learn that he or she has previous missionary work experience, you can encourage that team member to share his or her experience with the team so that they can gain knowledge from that experience and wisely plan evangelization efforts based on that knowledge. It also won't hurt to thank members for their involvement and express how vital their role is to the future of our church. Psychology professor Dr. Bruce Tuckman conducted research involving group dynamics. He developed and published his model, Tuckman's Stages of Group Development, in 1965. His model has stood the test of time and is still used today. You should be prepared to help your team navigate through 4 stages of team development: forming, storming, norming, and performing. You'll see that there's a black box right in the center of the screen. Please click on that box twice and an arrow should appear in the center. Click on that arrow and you'll be able to view a video which explains Tuckman's model. To be ready for the first team meeting, prepare an agenda and send it to the team at least a week before that first meeting. The team can work more productively if they know the plan for the initial meeting. Read documents such as Be Missionary Disciples and the parish or parishes mission readiness reports. These documents will give you information about Archbishop Lori's vision for the process, and also the reports will give you information about all aspects of parish life, such as how many families are registered, how many families are participating in sacramental prep. Lots of details which will be important to know in order to plan appropriately. Gather all the data related to the pastorate and be prepared to summarize that data for the team. Reviewing the purpose of the team will be important. Remember to tell them that their goal is to form a pastorate that focuses on evangelization. They'll want to keep that goal in mind at every single meeting. Set up dates, times, and locations for future meetings so that the whole team can commit to long-term participation in the process. A planning tool is available that gives you a guide for planning each team meeting. The session planning worksheet is available if you wish to use it. This worksheet can be emailed to you by request by emailing me, Molly Fern, mfern@archvault.org. The meeting space should meet your team's needs. The meeting location needs to be accessible and have adequate parking and accommodations suited to your team members. For example, if you have a disabled team member in a wheelchair, you want to find a building that has access for that person to get in easily. You want to have a meeting space that's comfortable and also private so that team members can walk in and be comfortable, not be too hot, too cold, have adequate lighting, feel free to speak about sensitive topics because it's a private space where they won't be overheard. They need to also be comfortable in the space, so you want to physically prepare it and prepare it so that they can get right to work. So you want to set up the equipment, you want to set up any space for prayer and reflection before that first meeting. You also want to ensure that all supplies and equipment will be accessible and useful in the space prior to that first meeting, so that when folks come in, if you're using a projector, for example, you want to make sure that you don't need an extension cord to plug it in and not be able to use it because you can't reach the outlet. So you want to check those kind of things so that when the team comes in, the space is ready for them to work. Prayer and reflection can set the tone for effective teamwork. Sharing faith stories or testimonies may help team members establish rapport with one another. Icebreaker activities can also be used to help team members get to know each other and begin to work together in a relaxed way. There are a myriad of icebreakers to choose from located at the Fun Attic website. You'll see the Fun Attic website address on the last bullet on the screen. https://funattic.com/icebreaker-games-4-adults. So have fun perusing that website and picking out some icebreakers to use with your team. The first task recommended for facilitators is to guide the team to set their own ground rules to govern how they will operate as a team. Team ground rules must be agreed upon to be effective. If all team members don't buy into the ground rules, it could cause major dissension later on when the team needs to make major decisions together. Team consensus should be heard from each member for the ground rules to be accepted. It's wise to actually verbally hear from each person to ensure that they agree with each ground rule. Record the ground rules for future reference. Ground rules will come in handy when conflict arises. For example, if one of the ground rules the team has set is that they will treat one another with respect at all times, and team members begin to argue with one another and start to personally attack one another, the facilitator can very simply refer to the team ground rules, and the team can stop that argument before it becomes destructive. You see a worksheet on the screen entitled Creating Team Norms. This worksheet gives examples of ground rules that you might find helpful when working with your team. If you would like to receive this worksheet, please email me to request it. My email address is mfern@archbold.org. You will take on many roles as a facilitator. Timekeeper. You'll want to make sure that the group stays on track with their time and gets started when they're supposed to and ends when they're supposed to and takes a break when they need it. Equalizer. You'll want to give everyone fair time to speak and be heard. If one person is monopolizing the meeting, you may want to step in and say, let's hear from some others. Inquirer. If someone isn't being clear, you may want to ask follow-up questions to ensure that the entire group understands the person's point. Peacekeeper. Folks might get into conflict and you may need to step in and remind them of the ground rules. Encourager. Teamwork is a long process, so the team members may need constant and continual encouragement to work through the process and to be patient and allow it to work. Enforcer. You may need to ensure that the team stays on track and doesn't veer off into non-productive conversations, for example. These many roles will have you busy at every meeting, but they are roles that you'll get accustomed to after working through the team process of forming, storming, norming, and performing. The facilitator will guide the team to make decisions. It's important to know the team's level of authority regarding their decisions. For example, if the pastor has the authority to overrule the team's decisions, that would be important for the team to be aware of prior to embarking on the decision-making process. Recording the team's decisions for future reference is vital. You don't want a lack of memory to wipe out all the work the team has done. The facilitator may need to ask questions to help clarify perspectives or help the team fully evaluate all aspects of an opportunity or threat. For example, if the team is looking at whether or not to close one of the parishes that is to be joining in the pastorate, that's a major decision, and all the pros and cons will need to be weighed. The facilitator can help keep the group calm and focused and help them weigh the pros and cons when emotions run high. The team will need to be guided through the problem-solving process. The pastorate planning team will solve problems that are impeding pastorate formation and successful evangelization. A systematic approach to problem solving may help the team to focus their efforts. The steps suggested for solving problems are listed on the screen. First, define the problem. Second, identify the desired future state. Third, identify the forces promoting change and the forces restraining change. Fourth, analyze forces that can be changed. Fifth, plan a change strategy. Sixth, develop an action plan for that strategy. Seventh, evaluate your actions. Offering a step-by-step way to take on problem resolution can be helpful when complex problems face the team. Process tools can be used to help the team identify opportunities or threats, set goals, or make constructive decisions. Here are a few process tools you may find useful: brainstorming, written brainstorming, visioning, force field analysis, and decision grid. If you would like further information on each of these process tools, some information will be provided in the next few slides, and you're welcome to request these tools by emailing me, Molly Fern, at mfern@archbold.org. Ingrid Benz, in her book Facilitating with Ease, offers many different tools, one of which is brainstorming. And I'm going to quote her because she describes brainstorming in some detail that I think will be helpful. On her sheet, she says here, what is it? A technique for getting bigger and better ideas. Puts a full range of ideas on the table before decisions are made. Then she asks when to use it. To generate a free flow of creative ideas that are not bound by the usual barriers, to get everyone involved, to create energy, to generate a wide range of solutions for a problem. What does it do? Allows people to explore new ideas and challenge traditional thinking. Lets people put ideas on the table without fear of being corrected or challenged. It separates the creation of ideas from the evaluation activity. And then Ms. Benz goes into exactly how to do a brainstorming session on the worksheet. So as you can see, this can be a good way to get the team talking and to get lots of ideas out on the table. If you'd like further information about brainstorming, feel free to request this process tool worksheet by emailing me, Molly Fern, at mfern@archbold.org. Have you ever heard of written brainstorming? Written brainstorming is, as Ms. Benz says, an idea generation technique that asks people to write down their ideas, then pass them to other group members who build on them. When to use it? When people are reluctant to speak in front of others, or when there are outspoken members who would dominate a verbal brainstorming session. Also useful if the issue or topic is sensitive, since the initial idea generation step is anonymous and private. What does it do? Idea building gives people the anonymity and hence freedom to express their ideas. And then again, Ms. Benz goes into how exactly to conduct a written brainstorming session. So you can see this is a nice tool to use if you feel team members are hesitant to speak up and to give their opinions. Ms. Benz describes visioning as a highly participative approach to goal setting for groups of all sizes. When to use it, when members need to clarify their own thoughts and then share those ideas with each other. To create a clear shared statement of the desired future. What does it do? Allows people to put forward their ideas, make sure everyone is involved and heard from, creates energy, gets people aligned, gives people a creative method to identify a group goal. So as you can see, the team might benefit from visioning, particularly when they're dealing with a complex issue and they need to get aligned, as Ms. Benz says, in their thought process. Force field analysis is a structured method of looking at the two opposing forces acting on a situation. When to use it? When you need to surface all of the factors at play in a situation so that barriers and problems can be identified. What does it do? Clarifies the resources available and the barriers or obstacles to success. Helps groups understand where they need to focus their attentions. Again, Ms. Benz goes into detail about how to do a force field analysis on this sheet. And you can see where this could be very beneficial when the team is sorting out whether an opportunity or a threat is facing them in pastorate formation. Ms. Benz says that the purpose of a decision grid is to change the decision-making process from one in which members debate which solutions they feel are most suitable to one in which potential solutions are objectively judged against the same set of criteria. And that this is a tool to be used when you need to bring more objectivity and thoroughness to the decision-making process. Further information about how to set up a decision grid and the type of criteria to use in order to make productive decisions is included in the full worksheet. If you wish to receive this worksheet or any of the others mentioned previously, certainly email me and I'll be happy to send you one or all of the process tool worksheets. Asking the right question at the right time can keep your team focused and engaged. As you can see on the screen, there's a question format worksheet. It has all different types of questions that you can choose from to use in your facilitator role, such as fact-finding questions or tell me more questions. The team will be examining, discussing, and debating weighty issues and may need your guidance using probing questions to keep their discussions productive. This worksheet offers some sample probing questions you might find beneficial. Getting a team to make a decision is not a task for the faint-hearted. This worksheet can be used to prepare the team to act in ways that foster effective decision-making. Don't be afraid of conflict. Healthy debate is necessary when making important decisions. Conflict can be helpful. It allows the team to work together despite differing opinions and ideas to resolve a problem or make a decision. Arguments, personal attacks, and mean-spirited or offensive talk are not appropriate. So as a facilitator, you'll need to be alert and watch for these types of behaviors. The facilitator will often become a referee during conflict and steps in if the discussion turns sour and steers it back to a healthy debate, or reminds the team of their ground rules if behavior becomes unruly. As a facilitator, you may even need to be assertive and enforce the ground rules by stopping a discussion if it becomes too harsh. Here is a worksheet with tips for handling conflict. As always, you can request this worksheet or any others shown in this presentation by emailing me at mfern@archvault.org. Lydia Richards, CEO of TeamWorks, has a short video that explains the various ways to handle conflict. While watching this video, think about which of these methods you usually use when faced with conflict. As a facilitator, you may need to use more than one method to address team conflict. To view this video, click on the picture in the middle of the screen twice. Then an arrow should appear in the middle of the picture. Click on the arrow once to view the video. After watching the video, please click on the background outside of the picture box to reset the video to the start position. The pastorate planning teams are on a mission from God. The work they're doing to form our pastorates is vital to the future of our church. Since the work is so vital, where decisions are concerned, consensus is best. As Ingrid Benz says, there are some situations in which the decisions being made are so important that consensus is the only acceptable method to be used. In these cases, the group must agree to keep discussing until everyone indicates that he or she can live with the outcome. In your facilitator role, you can guide the team to build consensus through group discussion. The consensus building worksheet you see on the screen is available to guide you through this process. The pastorate planning teams will be setting short and long-term goals to accomplish. Have you ever heard of SMART goals? SMART goals are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. Guiding your team to make SMART goals is a good plan because they're the types of goals that you can record, track, and celebrate when you accomplish them. As a facilitator, you might need to orchestrate the goal-setting process for your team. The team will need to decide who will perform what tasks to accomplish the goals they have set and how, when, and where the tasks will be completed. Goal assignments should be recorded for future reference to ensure accountability. The team will need to devise a follow-up plan to evaluate their efforts. The bottom line question the team will need to answer is, did the team prepare the pastorate to be mission ready? Hopefully the answer will be yes. In the final evaluation, here are a few questions and thoughts to consider. What did the team learn? What plans worked well to form the pastorate and achieve the mission's core priorities? What plans failed, and what did we learn from that experience? Remember to celebrate the team's accomplishments. A whole group of people came together and gave their time and talent for a good purpose. That's something to celebrate and to express gratitude for. Remember to tell the team to keep up the momentum because they're not done yet. As new pastorate formation teams come together, guess who they'll be coming to for advice? Your team.